About 3 years ago now, I did my first ever review video, and it was for Sega Mega Drive game. And I thought I'd like to go back and have a look at that and see if I can do any better with what I've learned from doing like YouTube videos, like with the filming and the lighting and the cameras over the past 3 years, and redo the video. So that's what I thought I'll do. So in this video, I'm going to have a look at the 1992 Sega Mega Drive game, European Club Soccer. Released in 1992 by Chrysalis Software and published by Virgin Games, this game came out for the Sega Mega Drive, and it is a football simulation game based on the old-style European Cup before it became the Champions League just a few years later. There's two game modes: Arcade, where you can play as a single player against an opponent of your choice, or you can play as a multiplayer two-player game. The simulation mode, you play in the knockout stages of the European Cup, playing over 2 legs each round with away goals counting in the event of a draw. At the end of extra time, in the event of a draw over the 2 legs, the game will go to a penalty shootout. Also, if you win the European Cup, there is a bonus game where you get to play in a version of the World Club Cup tournament. The game has a large selection of teams to choose from, with clubs from all over Europe. Over 170 teams to choose from, and you can play as famous European champions such as Real Madrid, Juventus, Liverpool, Manchester United and Nottingham Forest. It's cool that they've got teams like Nottingham Forest on as well. Obviously, they were the only team at the time to have defended the European Cup in 1980 and 1981 under the legendary Brian Clough, so it was really cool to see Forest on there as well. And there's a couple of English teams that were there, like Leeds United and Norwich City, who have fallen from grace in the past couple of years, but it's cool to see them on as well. And also Rotherham United, which, as far as I'm aware, have never actually played in Europe, but Chrysalis Studios were based in Rotherham at the time, so it was a nice little nod that they put Rotherham in the team. And I know it was really cool to play as Rotherham in Europe. I know when we used to play when we were kids, when my brother Liam would always play as Rotherham, so it's really cool to see that. The club names are genuine and the badges are accurate to the time when it was made, around the late 80s to early 90s. The strips are as genuine as they can be for the technology, such as some strips like Juventus, who will play in black and white stripes, play in grey, and Celtic, who normally play in red and green hoops, are just played in green. The names as well were not licensed, so it was names that were like native to the countries. Like there's typical English names and typical French and Greek names if you played in the French league, like French league teams or Greek league teams. There's also an option to change strip colours as well, which was well ahead of its time for this type of game. The game does have some drawbacks. It is only side to side, which when FIFA International Soccer came out, it was more of a 3D camera, which I think it's a lot slower than FIFA as well, and the passing doesn't seem as liquid as it does on FIFA.
Twat! That was liquid football!
I think as well, with having no genuine shoot button, I think that's what's missing with the FIFA games, where you can just take a shot. This, you've got to keep your finger down on, seeing it just takes a longer pass, which I'm not sure if that was done on purpose or if it was a bug in the game. It's just, it could really do with a shoot button. I think that's what it's really missing in the game to make it from a good game to a really good football game, I think. One of the really cool things about this game that I know me and Liam always used to go on about was, if you do a sub in the game, it actually sees the sub actually warming up, taking his trackie off and actually substituting with a player, and that never happened right up. And I don't even think the next generation games do it. It's just really cool to see that actually happen. All in all, it's a It's a really good football game. I mean, it's not up there with FIFA, but considering the amount of football games that came out around this time, it still is playable to this day. Looking at some other games around that time which are completely unplayable now, this one still holds up, and it's still really fun to play, and there's just so many options to choose from. With over 170 teams, you could basically take all of them to the European Cup. So I would still recommend to play this game if you have it, or if you can get it on an emulator, just to give it a go and have a look at some nostalgia. The game is sort of a time capsule to how European football was in those days. With the terrace stadiums, it shows the partition of the away supporters. You can actually see the pens and cages being put up, which obviously doesn't happen these days, with especially in Britain, with the Taylor report coming out after the Hillsborough disaster. That stadiums are a lot more safer these days to avoid crushes and crowding, but also I think European football had a bad name after the High Shield disaster, where a lot of fans were killed in that tragic thing. I mean, it's a bygone era, and this game encaptures what stadiums used to be like. But again, with Hillsborough and the European Cup disaster with Liverpool and Juventus, no one should ever go to a football game and not come home from it. It was just tragic. Yes, I got real nostalgia to playing that game, and with it being a Virgin game, I always think that Virgin games have the best soundtrack. It always sounds so clean and crisp when the music's played, and there's some really cool music when you play the game. Depends why you're playing in the world. Like United Kingdom teams have their own soundtrack, like Europe, Latin, like Spain and Russia. They all have the different soundtracks when you play them, and it just adds a little different level to the game as well, knowing that you're playing away, because the stadiums are it's the same kind of artwork around the stadium, but you do know you're playing away because you haven't got your soundtrack on, and I just think that's really cool. And also the graphics of when it's half time and when you win and when you lose, it shows the how footballers used to look them days, like the fashion of the hairstyle and the strips, because my first memory of European football was the Cup Winners' Cup final. I think it was 1991 when Man United beat Barcelona, and Mark Hughes and Les Sealy and Lee Sharp, all those players. And that was when I was really getting into football. So it is really cool for me to play this game around that time. It gives me a really big nostalgia buzz to watch it around this time. Also as well, just showing how the European Cup was before the Champions League. And I still think the European Cup is the most beautiful trophy, football trophy out there. Let me know what you think in the comments, what your favourite one is. European Cup and the World Cup are still the best designed trophies ever. I mean, the FA Cup is prestige, but I just think for its design, the European Cup is up there for me. Okay, so that does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and comment. Let me know as well what you thought of this game. If you played European Club Soccer style, or if you played the J-League clone, or if there was a North American version as well, if you remember playing that instead of the European one. It's basically the same game, but different teams in it. I think there was a Man United one as well, where you played as Man U. So let me know as well if you played those games and what your thoughts were of this game. Any other games similar around that time before the FIFA era, the football games that you enjoyed, let me know. I'll have a look and see if I can get them and review them. But yeah, really enjoyed redoing this one. And if you could do me a favour as well, I'm really close to 200 subscribers, so if you enjoyed the video and you'd like to help me out, click on subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, that's it for now. Happy gaming, and hope to see you in another video.